Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and today I'm going to be going through and ranking the easiest to the most difficult games for the Las Vegas Raiders this upcoming season. I know a term that always gets thrown out there is strength of schedule, and for the Raiders, they have a very middle-of-the-pack strength of schedule, 16 out of 32 teams. But I wanted to do the Raiders' strength of schedule because all I care about is the teams that the Raiders are going up against, and I also know that teams look a lot different from year to year. This Raiders team this season looks a lot different than the Raiders team from last season. So what you guys are going to see is I'm going to go from 17, work my way down to 1, and I'll tell you which games I think are the easiest to then the most difficult. In your opinion, though, which game on the Raiders' schedule is the most difficult? I imagine we're going to get some answers probably around Philadelphia, Kansas City. Maybe somebody else thinks that there is a more difficult game on the schedule. Who knows? Maybe like the Washington Commanders. Chugs is saying the Texans. Which game, though, I want to know down below is the hardest on the schedule. Let's go to the easiest game, I believe, on the Raiders' schedule this season, and it is Week 12 versus the Cleveland Browns at home. Not a lot of good quarterback play here for Cleveland. Chugs just whispered this is probably the game that they end up losing, which, yeah, I feel like there's a game every year that the Raiders lose a game that they're not supposed to flip and lose. We also probably win a game every single year that we're not supposed to win. But I honestly do think that with this Browns team playing the Ravens the week before, that is a big reason why, on top of it being the easiest game. Let's go to number 16 here. It's going to be Week 17 versus the New York Giants. And the reason why I'm putting the Giants up here, it's because the only AFC game that they have over their final 4 games is the Raiders. And if I'm the Giants and I'm trying to make the playoffs, the games that I'm going to be a little bit more concentrated on are the 3 NFC games. So for that reason, I think that the Giants game Week 17 is one of the easier ones. Let's go to the 15 number, Week 6 versus the Tennessee Titans. When you look at the Titans, I do think Cam Ward is going to be a lot better than what people anticipate, but this is also the 3rd straight road game. 3 straight road games is really difficult, especially on a young football team. The Titans' defense is going to be better than I think what some people initially anticipate, but 3 straight road games for a young offensive team, that is a problem. I think that makes this one a little bit easier. Let's go to number 14 here on the list, Week 5, up against the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts, to me, are a team that's going to run the football a ton. They don't really have a quarterback that I think that can beat teams deep. And for the Raiders, they have such a good defensive line, and this defense is built to stop the run. We're going to struggle, I think, a little bit unless we add a free safety or a nickel, probably both, at least a player that can prove to me that they're solid in the secondary. But because I do really believe that the Raiders are going to have a good run defense, and I think that this is going to be a much different offense indoors just because of Geno Smith compared to outdoors. This game's indoors. Give me this one for the Raiders. Let's go to Week 1 up against the New England Patriots. And I know that Week 1 games are weird. I'll be real, if there's one week that I do not like to put money where my mouth is, it's Week 1 just because you don't really know what some of these teams look like, and, you know, it can be a coin flip. This is a game, though, that I am confident that the Raiders are going to come out, and they're going to be fired up to go get a win. I know Mike Vrabel's squad's going to be the exact same. I just think that the Raiders are a better football team on paper than the New England Patriots. And that's the reason why I have it ranked here at number 13. There is a, I would say, large tier gap in terms of the difficulty. These, to me, are the 5 easiest games for the Raiders entering the season. Then there's a little bit of a tier gap. We're going to go to number 12 here on the list. Week 9 up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both teams are coming off a bye. So both the Jags and the Raiders have that Week 8 bye. And a lot of times I think the better coaching staff gets a win if both teams have a bye. I'll sit up here and I'll go Pete Carroll and our regime with Patrick Graham, Chip Kelly is better than Liam Cohn and whatever Jacksonville has. Let's go to number 11 here, and it's Week 11 up against the Dallas Cowboys. The Raiders play Thursday Night Football in Week 10. This is a Monday Night Football game. So that means essentially you're getting 11 days to be able to prepare. Maybe it's 10. My math sucks. But you get essentially not only that extra time, you also get that extra day on top of that. So when you have the advantage of getting those extra days, the extra rest period also coming off, kind of like the bye in Week 8, that to me is one of the reasons why I think the Raiders do end up winning this game. Let's go to number 10 on the list. It's going to be Week 14 up against the Denver Broncos. The Broncos play the Commanders and they play the Kansas City Chiefs the 2 weeks before that they play the Raiders. And both of those teams are playoff caliber teams, and I think also for the Broncos, it's going to be a large test for them. Obviously, you show up for your AFC West rivalry games. We know the Broncos are going to give us our best, but the Raiders at home against Denver, I like this game a lot. Let's go to week 2, the home opener for the Las Vegas Raiders, 9th on our list here. And it's a Monday Night Football game. It's up against the Chargers. It's another big-time division rival. The fact that this is going to be the home opener and the fact that I think Raiders fans are as fired up for the season as what they are, I really, really believe that the amount of black, the amount of silver and black that you were going to see in this stadium, I'm hoping that it gives us some of those Oakland feels. I know Oakland's never going to be able to be duplicated, but I do think that the home opener this year is going to be a game where we're like, you know what? It's good because there's going to be 90% Raiders fans there. Before we get into the most difficult games on the Raiders schedule, I hope people that end up joining the family, I love what we've been able to bring to the table here at the Raiders Report, and the family keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's amazing that we're up to almost 194,000 subs. We need 80 more to get there. I hope that you guys can help us get there. I'd like to be able to get there before I get married, and if we don't, then I don't even know at that point. Seriously, though, join the family. Let's go to Week 13, up against the Chargers, and this is where I would start to say again, the Raiders' schedule in general is a difficult schedule, but Pete Carroll is 5-4 against Jim Harbaugh in his career. Because I have the Raiders splitting with the Chargers, I'm just going to go with Carroll is always split with Harbaugh. The Raiders are split with the Chargers. For that reason, it's number 8. Some people might be surprised that I have the Bears ranked this high in a Week 4 game. The Raiders are on the road the week before against the Commanders. That makes it difficult. Also, Chicago, their fans, they travel well. And there's going to be a lot of Bears fans at Allegiant Stadium. I know what I just said earlier about the home opener, and there's still going to be a lot of excitement for the second home game, but Chicago has always traveled well, and the last time the Bears went to Allegiant Stadium, there were more Bears fans in Allegiant Stadium than Raiders fans, so please keep that one in mind. I also think that Caleb Williams will be better, and the fact that the Bears really did a lot in their power to upgrade that offensive line, I do think it's going to pay dividends for Chicago. Number 6 here, Week 16, up against the Houston Texans, and when you go back and you look at last season, and I know I always like say last season, teams that played the Detroit Lions and teams that played the Philadelphia Eagles, the game that they had the next week, those teams lost a lot. So the fact that the Raiders have to play Philadelphia in Philly the week before going up against the Texans on the road, we know Houston's a good football team. But you're going to get beat up a little bit against Philly. Teams are also going to get beat up against the Raiders. It's just that's a tough back-to-back game slate. Let's go to number 5 here. It's going to be Week 10 up against the Denver Broncos. This is a Thursday night football game. Short week. Chug's in the background the whole time is going like this, which I just kind of wanted to give him one of these the whole time. Week 10, though, up against the Broncos. Short week, Thursday night football. I go back and I always think about things that I say when Chugs and I go live for every Thursday night game. And if you don't know, we will be live for every single Thursday night football game this season. Not only is the game outdoors, but then on top of that, shortened week, I usually give advantage to the home team just because of the extra travel time. There's a little bit more of the jet lag kind of gets thrown in there. Again, 4 days. The home team, I do think, ends up getting the advantage. For that reason, I think that this Broncos game is one of the more difficult games on our schedule. Before I reveal the top 4 most difficult games for the Las Vegas Raiders this season, if you don't know, we are doing an Ashton Genty jersey raffle for the month of May. $5 super thanks or $5 super chat when we are live. You are entered in. I know people are busy. I know that not everybody has the opportunity to join us live. Now, I will say this. We're going to be live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, so you had plenty of opportunities to get in. But if you don't know how to super thanks, this is what it looks like. First off, this number next week better be 194. Oh, that's all I'm saying. But the super thanks button right here, you can click on this bad boy if you're on your mobile device, and that's how you can donate. Or if you're on your laptop, it looks a little bit different. There's a 3 button. You click on that, you get the drop-down menu, and then you get the super thanks there. Again, I want to give people opportunities to win some jerseys. We're also up here, trying to do our thing, and we've had a lot of people enter already, which I think is super, super dope. Winner will be announced Friday, May 30th. Let's go to number 4 here, and this is, again, I would say another tier gap of difficult schedule. Week 3 at the Commanders. Outside And Washington is one of the best football teams in the league coming off a NFC Championship loss. And I think that that's going to light the fire under their ass a little bit. The Commanders, I think, could sneak up on some people this season. They've been in absolute win-now mode, really trying to bolster the offense and the defense. Let's go to number 3. It's going to be Week 18, the final game of the season for the Raiders. There is a chance that the Chiefs could be resting their starters this week. And I know in years past that the Raiders have actually had more success in Arrowhead than when the Chiefs come to town in Allegiant or when the Chiefs come to town in Oakland over the past few seasons. With that being said, though, the reason why I am putting this game as the easier game is just because of the little possibility that Kansas City does end up resting their starters in Week 18 if they already have it locked up like they did last season. Let's go to the next game, though. Also, the Kansas City Chiefs, Week 7 in Arrowhead. You know that you're going to be playing the refs, but you also got to try to take care of business against Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And this one is also outside, and it's going to be in a really, really difficult environment. But to me, the most difficult game on the Raiders' schedule this season, Week 15 on the road against the defending Super Bowl champs and the Philadelphia Eagles. This game's outside. This game's going to be in December, which fits exactly what Philadelphia is going to want to do. And for the Raiders, you're coming off a Week 14 division rivalry game up against the Denver Broncos. Call me crazy for saying the two teams that played in the Super Bowl, and 4 out of our toughest games were 3 out of the final 4 teams. The Raiders' schedule is tough, but this is also a much better football team, and I'm excited to see this season go down. If you made it this far in the video and you want to give me a follow on social media, you can always hit me up on Instagram, and you can hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. If you also want to send me what games that you think are the easiest, what games you think are the most difficult, social media is probably one of the best ways to get a hold of me, especially now that I'm getting closer and closer to my wedding. Appreciate all y'all tuning in. I'm excited to see how this season goes, and knowing my luck, we'll end up beating the Eagles, we'll end up beating the Chiefs, and we'll end up losing to the Browns. That's usually how it goes here on the Raiders Report.